Radhe Radhe, welcome to our first recap video of our new Bhagavad Gita study series for chapter 6 that Mummy and I started facilitating today.
Radhe Radhe and warm welcome to our new series of chapter 6.
Indeed, welcome to all the participants as well as future viewers. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And as mentioned, this is just a brief recap video covering whatever content we talked about in today's class. So we just had an introduction to chapter 6, but even before one can get to a chapter, it's helpful to understand or recall what was done previously. So to help with that, we actually did a quick read through of the introduction to chapter 5. And that's not meant to be confusing. Truly, the introduction to chapter 5, which in itself serves as a very helpful summary of chapter 5, thereby laying the platform to start chapter 6. As always, we use Bhagavad Gita, the Song of God, by Swami Mukundanand Ji, this version being specifically the ebook version that now we've been using for well over 2.5 years. In the slides that are sent out to participants who join via the JKYog community portal, there are links provided on how you can purchase various versions of Swamiji's book. So taking us then to chapter 5, we covered the introduction. Remember chapter 5, Karma Sannyas Yoga, the yoga of renunciation. So we had 3 people read out a paragraph or half a paragraph, just again to help remind everybody or get people familiar for the first time with the basic elements of chapter 5. That really helps people hopefully understand the difference between karma sannyas, which is renunciation of actions, versus karma yoga, which is work in devotion. It is important that most of us follow the path of karma yoga as truly given to us in terms of wisdom by Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna extols and talks highly about the qualities and virtues of karma yoga. So that's something we shall encounter over and over again. And one helps get there by having a purified mind. A lot of that is going to come with not just knowledge, but also sadhana and various practices. So we just got a brief recap of some of those elements and essentially realizing that Sri Krishna is the true enjoyer of everything we offer and do for him. That is something that helps us eventually as devotees attain peace. Mommy, over to you.
Yeah, so basically from chapter 5, main thing we learned is the purification of mind. That is very important. What happens in karma sannyas, people sometimes rush into it very quickly, thinking that they have given up everything and very easily they'll be able to continue on the path of renunciation. But it is a very difficult path, and what they realize that inwardly they are still attached and there is not enough purification of mind, so they cannot continue on that. So that's why Krishna teaches us that living in this household life, we can do karma yoga by having purification of mind, whereby we don't worry about the results of our actions and we offer everything to God, as God is the enjoyer of all our actions. With that, we can move on to the...
Yeah, so we had a quiz after that, again on chapter 5, not on chapter 6, because again, it's to help as a recap and a platform to commence the chapter 6 journey. So we covered 6 questions. Those of you who get these slides are welcome to go through them again, or perhaps for the first time, and just again, get familiar with some of the important elements and concepts of chapter 5. So we covered all those questions. Is there any one, Mummy, that at all you want to talk about right now?
Well, for me, the most important is these 2 pictures, which I'm seeing right now. The 2 birds, one bird is enjoying the fruits and the other bird is just watching. And what does it tell us? This is a very famous story from Vedas, that we, ignorant souls, we have no idea. We are just busy in this material world, just enjoying. We don't realize what we are supposed to do, and God is just watching. So he watches our actions and he notes down and he gives us the results of our karma. So basically we have to learn, God is telling us that we have to learn to go into Sakshi Bhav, that witness consciousness, whereby we just don't get bothered by the different situations happening in our life, whereby we don't get bothered by happiness or sorrow, joy or sukh or dukh, and we learn to detach our mind from this material world and attach our mind to the loving devotion of God. And on the other side, it's a beautiful picture of Falgu River. The way Falgu River is that on top you see only the sand, but nobody knows that you dig a little bit down and there's water gushing. So what does that mean? That we need to have detachment, we need to have vairagya, but not the Falgu vairagya, which most of us have. We think that we have detached ourselves, but all the time our mind is still into worldly attractions, worldly material things. So it keeps wandering back. So basically the thing is we have to learn to control our mind, and instead of Falgu Vairagya, we have to learn the Yukt Vairagya. Yukt Vairagya, how will it come? It will come only as a yogi when we attach our mind to God with loving devotion. And with that, we move to chapter 6.
Indeed, nicely described, Sakshi Bhav and Falgu Vairagya, which then leads us, as Mummy said, into actually chapter 6. So for chapter 6 in today's class, we did a read through of, again, the introduction, truly here as an introduction to chapter 6. Of course, eventually that will end up also being a summary. But here, chapter 6, we started the journey, Dhyan Yog, the yoga of meditation. So again, 3 participants were able to read a paragraph or half a paragraph, giving us a brief introduction as well as a summary of what the chapter is going to unveil to us in the weeks and months to come. So when we meet in the next class, we shall actually get into the learnings of a couple of verses from chapter 6, seeing what is in store for us. But as you can at least predict for now, this chapter is likely to talk about meditation. It's probably going to ask or talk or say something about austerities. Is more always good? Is there a balance required? We're certainly going to talk about the mind, as Mummy said, in connection with Falgu Vairagya as well. And of course, most important, I think, Mummy, you'll talk about this. Amongst all yogis,
one who engages in bhakti, loving devotion to God, is the highest of all. That is what we have been following here in Swami Mukundananji's Song of God. And he has written this book based on all his learnings from Kripaluji Maharaj, who is the Rasavatar, Bhakti Rasavatar saint, the saint who propounds the path of bhakti. And that is the highest of all. And Krishna himself tells in this Bhagavad Gita that a yogi, the one who strives to unite his mind with God, is better than an ascetic, a tapasvi, who is just doing an austerity. And he is better than a jnani, who is just into gaining knowledge. And the karmi who is just performing rituals. So who is the best? The yogi who unites his mind with God. And how? Through bhakti, through loving devotion to God. That is the highest of all. So the best path to reach God realization is through bhakti.
indeed. So with that said, for chapter 6, then we shall of course get into verses, as I mentioned, starting with the next class. The last couple of items we covered in class, just logistics quickly for everybody again. We talked about how you can, of course, continue to support Swamiji's noble mission and projects. That information is here on this slide. If you click the link, you're able to actually just make a donation or contribution of your comfort level, and as many times as you like, towards the entire noble mission. And of course, we also wanted to just again remind everybody about our contact information, just so that you can get in touch in case you have any teething issues or questions, general questions along the way. As a final reminder, the slides that were shared in class, along with, of course, the recap video that we're recording, will all be available through the JKYog community portal. So it's important you look out for a notification and sign up there. But other than that, once again, we hope that class participants, as well as future viewers, everyone is able to gain some level of knowledge and bliss, and of course, a lot of bhakti through your own efforts on this path that commenced today, specifically for Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6. From my side, thank you so much. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you so much. And our earnest request to all of you, do join us in this blissful divine journey of chapter 6. It's a free online session, and information is all given. So do join us, and let's be part of this distantly connected spiritual family that all over the world, we are living in different places, but through this online platform, we are spiritually connected and moving together on this path. Thank you. Radhe Radhe.